welcome to the second episode of Movie Reviews. My name is Daniela.
And I'm Alfonso.
In today's second episode, we're going to be reviewing
Inherent Vice, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson.
Let's start by talking a little bit about this movie and what it is about.
That's a tough question because the plot is so convoluted. Basically, the film is a neo-noir comedy. It follows the private investigator, Doc Sportello, as he investigates the disappearance of his ex-girlfriend Shasta and her current boyfriend, Michael Wolfman.
Yeah, it's kind of like a mystery, right? Like you have to connect all the dots and follow along with the movie to not get lost, because there's a lot of things that happen, a lot of characters involved in the movie, a lot of stories, inside stories, and yeah.
I actually had to watch this movie twice, and even then I'm still confused about the plot, but I think it's a great film.
Yeah, I agree. Why don't we start by talking about the cast? What did you thought about the cast?
I thought the cast was excellent. I mean, Joaquin Phoenix is always great. Everybody knows that. Even the smallest supporting roles, I thought they were incredibly casted. All of these supporting characters, even with very little screen time, their performances really stand out. Like, I'm thinking of Reese Witherspoon. She's only in like 3 scenes, but her chemistry with Joaquin Phoenix is great. Or what about Josh Brolin as the LAPD officer? He's just so funny. He also has a great chemistry with Joaquin Phoenix. Like, in some scenes, I thought they loved each other and that they were friends. And in some scenes, it was very clear that they hated each other.
Yeah, exactly. I also really enjoyed seeing all the a lot of familiar faces. Yeah, like new actors, but also like Maya Rudolph had like a few seconds on screen. Owen Wilson, Jenna Malone, Reese Witherspoon, and I just liked seeing familiar faces in movies. And I thought the cast was amazing. Joaquin Phoenix was. I loved this movie in particular. Okay, so what did you thought about the atmosphere of the movie?
The atmosphere achieved by Paul Thomas Anderson was amazing. It really took me back to the 70s, to this drug-induced era. And I felt like if I was high without smoking anything. And just everything, the music he used, like Neil Young, and the cinematography by Robert L. Sweet. It's a very psychedelic movie without any visual effects. Like, they don't have any visual effects like in Midsommar or Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, but it still makes you feel like you're high. And I didn't even talk about the production design, which also adds a lot to the atmosphere.
You know, the 70s were like this very alive with the hippie culture, and Mark Bridges, the costume designer, did an amazing job with the costume design. It really made me feel also like I was high without even like smoking, and that I was hallucinating. And like you mentioned, the plot was really hard to follow. There were these certain times where I thought, is this really happening in the movie, or is this like a hallucination?
And I thought Paul Thomas Anderson did an amazing job at setting that up right from the get-go, right from the first scene. We assume that Doc is going to be hallucinating throughout the whole film.
That you, Shasta?
Thinks he's hallucinating.
I also read that Thomas Pynchon, the author of the novel that the movie was based on, wrote novels about that they reflected about the hippie lifestyle, and all of his stories are like incoherent stories. And I think Paul Thomas Anderson did a really good job with this film. And you know, I have to watch it again.
Yeah, I recommend watching it at least twice, because definitely I caught a lot more details the second time around, and I found it much more funny. Like, it's just, the humor is so subtle. If you blink, you miss it. So I actually have a lot of theories. I don't know what's real and what's not. Sometimes I think Sortilege is not real, or Owen Wilson's character, I don't think it's real. So it's just I feel like most of the movie might be inside Doc's head, but I'm not even sure.
Yeah, it is such a trippy movie. I had to watch a video of someone like analyzing the movie or like explaining the movie, and they also said that that theory, that sortilege was not real. And then you see the scenes where she was in, and you're like, huh, yeah,
She only talks to Doc, right? And
mhm,
also, she keeps talking about the zodiac. She keeps talking
mhm,
about the fortune of the characters, and she seems to be a magic presence throughout the
mhm.
whole film.
Yeah, like a good luck charm for Doc, kind of.
Yeah, I also enjoyed her performance. Like she's played by this amazing musician, Joanna Newsom. I really enjoy her music. Obviously, I like her voice. So using her as a narrator, I think was an excellent choice. She sounds so mystical, magical, just like a good luck charm, as you mentioned.
Yeah. Speaking about music, what did you thought about the soundtrack of the movie?
Incredible, amazing. Everything, like the original score by Johnny Greenwood, I think he achieved this very orchestral psychedelic sound that was very famous in the 70s. And the soundtrack, like I already mentioned Neil Young, who was famously drugged during the recording of these albums. But not only Neil Young, like he uses a lot of emblematic psychedelic songs from the 70s, which I think really added to the whole atmosphere of the movie.
Yeah, I didn't pay very close attention to it, but overall, I think that it really accompanied the story and the vibe of the 70s, like you mentioned, and I like it.
And I'm just thinking of the title card shot, which I love. Like suddenly Shasta lives in the car and the music starts with drums, very cool, very groovy music. And then the title card, Inherent Vice with neon green. I just
Mhm.
loved it. It was like, oh my God, this is going to be a great movie.
Yeah. Yeah, and speaking about that first scene, is there any scene in particular that stood out for you?
That's that's a tough question. I love a lot of scenes. Um, I loved every scene with Bigfoot. I just thought Bigfoot was hilarious. But other than that, I really enjoy the scene with Martin Short, the dentist. And I just love the way they snort all this coke and then they go on this joyride. And that
Mhm.
specific scene when they are in the car, I really love that scene. Technique wise, I thought it was amazing because it's such a claustrophobic shot. You cannot see what's happening on the outside. So I thought that was really ingenious. I thought that was really great. Like it's a cheap way to film it and it looked amazing. Like all of these lights flashing.
Well, now that you said your favorite, like when now that you mentioned your favorite scenes, I also enjoyed the scenes with Bigfoot, especially now that I have it in my mind. That last scene where he just like knocks the door and steps on it, and Doc is like smoking, and he's like, "What the fuck," And then he starts like just um, eating the joint and the weed and all of that, and that was just such an odd scene, but it was very funny.
Yeah, actually, you made me change my mind. I think I agree with you. I think that's also my favorite scene.
Yeah. And also one of my favorite scenes, it's when they're like doing playing with the Ouija board, and he's like, okay, 5 9, and they get like this number, and they said like, oh, if you're a stoner, come to this place. And I thought that was like a really funny scene.
That scene, I thought it was so beautiful. It was a beautiful sequence. It really shows that Doc was really in love with Shasta. And that scene under the rain with the Neil Young soundtrack. I keep referencing Neil Young, I'm a big fan. But the rain, Neil Young singing, the voice of Sortilege narrating, it was just so beautiful. And it made me
Yeah.
think, okay, this is about love, about nostalgia, about breaking up with someone that you miss constantly, even after years. So I think that scene was also really, really great.
Yeah, it was really romantic, and I'm a romantic, so I that was one of my favorite scenes.
board sure did its work. They didn't score any dope that day, but somehow suddenly it didn't matter.
I thought the cinematography was amazing. I think it was a great job. Something that really stood out for me was the lighting throughout all the movie. I was really paying attention to it, and it was like very natural, like natural light.
Do you like the lighting?
As well, the compositions, I thought they were really well made. Scenes that come to my mind right now are the first scene with the two houses, and there's also one scene, two ladies standing, and then Doc in the middle, and the scene when they're going to the party. And I thought that was really well composed.
Yeah, I agree with you. The compositions in this movie are amazing. I think that's the case with every Paul Thomas Anderson film. In terms of cinematography, I really like the camera movements. Like these slow push-ins that they use, I thought they were hypnotic. Usually slow push-ins like that make me feel nervous, like they build up a lot of tension. But in the case of this film, I thought it was just hypnotic. I think it added to the psychedelic feel of the film. And I just love the way PTA and Robert Elswit use these lens flares. I remember when Owen Wilson's character is finally saved, he walks into the sun, and then you just see the lens flare like bright on the screen. And it was like, wow, that really represents hope or something like that. I really, really love that.
Yeah, I remember that scene, and it gives you, like you said, that feeling of hope. And also the push intakes, I really thought that was very interesting. When Koi is talking with Doc in the alley, and yeah, this was the first movie, I believe, that I see of Paul Thomas Anderson, and yeah, it was my favorite so far.
Yeah, and speaking of that scene where Doc is talking with Koi, it really made me feel that Koi was a ghost or something. Owen Wilson walks out of the screen and Doc is left alone. And that happens several times. Several times Owen Wilson's character just walks out of the frame.
This movie made me think about The Big Lebowski, because remember that scene with the cowboy in the bowling is clearly, at least I think, not real.
Yeah, that's a perfect comparison. I think this has a lot of similitudes with The Big Lebowski. They both are stoner comedies slash neo-noirs. And they are both, I mean, in The Big Lebowski, the dude is sort of a private investigator. He's kind of looking for this Bonnie character. And here in the film, it's the same thing. Like at some point, Doc is looking for Shasta, and she just went up north to visit her family. So I think the similitudes are endless. Of course, it has a lot of influences of film noir. Like the beginning of the film is just like the beginning of a lot of film noirs. And yeah, that's just like a film noir trope, right? Like there's femme fatales, there's PIs, there's very convoluted police cases.
Yeah, definitely it made me think about film noir, especially with that first scene that you talk about. There's this film by Billy Wilder. It's Double Indemnity, and it made me think about that movie, or Sunset Boulevard, where they start by telling you what's gonna happen, and then the whole movie is trying to resolve the case or the mystery, and this movie is clearly that.
Yeah. And what did you think of the themes? What do you think Paul Thomas Anderson was trying to communicate?
I don't know, bro. Do drugs. They're fun. Well, my mind is still just processing the movie. Why don't you start with this? Because my head is gonna explode.
Yeah, I don't know what Paul Thomas Anderson was trying to communicate. I don't know if he's endorsing drugs. Maybe he is. It definitely is an anti-establishment film. I think he's saying that the hippie culture and the free love and the drug culture is not that bad. I mean, in the end, yeah, Doc Sportello was high 24/7, but he was still a functional human being, and he was still a very good person who wanted the best for everybody. He wanted to help out. Turns out that everything was about money, and turns out that Wolfman was getting really into hippie culture, and suddenly he wanted to be altruistic. He wanted to give away all his money. He wanted everybody to live for free. So
For free?
so the FBI kidnapped Wolfman and they sent him to rehab so he wouldn't give away his money for free, and so he wouldn't give houses for free.
I spent my whole life making people pay for shelter, and all along I didn't realize it was supposed to be for free.
Yeah, it probably has a little bit of a socialist message, and it also shows us a lot about how gentrification does so much harm to minorities. Like in this case, they mentioned the Mexicans, the Native Americans, and the blacks.
Mexican families bounced out of Chavez Ravine to build Dodger Stadium. American Indians swept out of Bunker Hill for the music center. And now Tariq's neighborhood, bulldozed aside to Channel View Estates.
That's the political themes that I could grasp, but also I think the film also has a lot to say about love, and I think we already mentioned Doc was longing for love. He really misses Shasta. Shasta is the one that got away. It's very nostalgic, and Owen Wilson's character is also missing his girlfriend. He also wants to get back to his girlfriend. So both characters have this goal. It probably has a lot more to say.
Yeah, I also thought about the Golden Fang at this cartel that had like the influences in like the dentist, you know, because they were also the ones that had the boat with the drugs, and just like it was like this circle of it was. I thought it was just a vicious cycle, like the title of the movie, Inherent Vice. I thought it was an inherent vice. Well, we can both agree that this movie has a lot to say, and it was a great movie. But, Alfonso, it's time for the truth. What's your rating?
Whew. You know, I gotta be honest. The first time that I watched it, I would have given it large popcorn. But the second time I watched it, and just talking about this film with you made me realize that I actually love this film. So I think I'm gonna give it 9, which is popcorn to take. And you, what's your final verdict?
Okay, well, I loved this movie very, very much. The 70s, the 60s, they are one of my favorite eras. You know, the whole hippie culture. I just love that. I didn't think I was gonna like it this much, but it captured me since the beginning, since the first scene. And so said that, my rating is 9. Popcorn to take.
Woo!
Woo! So we can agree that this was a great movie. 9 out of 10. That's great. That's movie to take. So the movie for next week is Old, directed by M. Night Shyamalan.
Awesome. That's great. I'm gonna go to the movie theater.
Yeah, me too. And actually eat my large popcorn. So this was everything for today. Thanks, Alfonso, for this amazing conversation, and thanks for suggesting this movie for this week. Now it's one of my top movies.
Yeah, thank you, Danny. It was a pleasure having this conversation with you. It was really fun. I'm excited for next week's film.
And you know it. If you like this video, go click the like button, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and family, because we're gonna review a lot of movies. And if you have a suggestion for us, just leave it in the comments and we'll make sure to review your movie. Thanks for joining us and see you until next time.
Thank you. Bye.